Hey traders, this is Jeff from zentrader.ca, and I'm going to go over a couple charts here, the general markets, the Toronto Stock Exchange, VIX, and I've had some requests for where I think Apple's going to head now. And so let's start off with the general markets here. Friday was just a horrid day. Probably everything that the Bears wanted and nothing of what the Bulls could have wanted. It couldn't have been worse. We made a new high, and we closed below Thursday's lows. We are in an area of support, and if we bust below this, then we're heading much lower. This should hold. But by no means is that a guarantee. I was expecting a little bit more on the rally. We still may get that, but it's really, the elections are going to be a wild card, so I'm not going to spend too much time on here. What I am going to say here, though, is when I looked at the VIX chart today, I almost had to laugh because for as horrid of a day that we had on Friday, the VIX actually closed below the high of the previous day, and that's a little bit shocking to me. So basically what that says is we have a lot more room for the VIX to head higher, which would mean that the markets could potentially have a lot more room to fall. Whether they do that, really tough to say. TSX is really looking like it put in a double top. Well, actually, you could say a quadruple top with the way that it reversed and headed lower on Friday. Basically, a move above that would negate. I basically got short right at the top of this move, so I'm just going to kind of sit on that position and let the market tell me what to do. A close above these levels on a daily chart would definitely probably have me exit out of that position, but yeah, so with that being said, I got a couple more I want to get to. Gold had a really, really scary move. I think that I don't want to say bottom, but I think it could potentially move down to the 1658-ish level, maybe even down here to the 1642, 43. If this isn't already a bottom. Volume was huge, moved outside the upper Bollinger. Last time it did that, that put in essentially a top. This was pretty much a top. Yeah, it went a little bit, went another $30 higher, but then it's had this pretty decent correction. So maybe we have a little bit more momentum to the downside, but I think this is getting close now. With that being said, I'm not actually looking to buy gold. I don't trust this move enough for me to want to put some of my own money behind this just yet. So take this, analysis. But I do see a lot of good reasons to think that this could be support down here if you do want to take a position. This is actually a good sign that even with all of this sell-off, we still are just barely hanging above 30. So that's a good sign. Actually wanted to go back to this Dow chart. I do have a projection that there's a possibility that we're going to head down to the, I didn't write it down, I think it's right around the 12,850-ish, and basically that could just be a measured move from here down to here. That could complete this sell-off. That would probably generate sufficient fear in the markets, and by then we should start possibly seeing some leaders emerge. I mean, that's really what I would be looking at. For me to really get interested is I would like to see a sell-off down to here, and I'd like to see some strong stocks start to break out. Finally, Apple. Actually, I want to show you this. Reader pointed this out. Back on October 7th, I said that there's a head and shoulder pattern forming on the 60-minute. My own indicators say that Apple is heading to 560 as part of a larger correction that needs to take place. A larger correction that needs to take place. What does that mean? Basically, it just means that we were getting really toppy, and you got very strong RSI here, negative divergence, not confirming this move. When you look at a weekly chart, I just really felt that this thing needed to, and I felt it was getting too over optimistic, and it really needed to kind of shake out a lot of weak hands. I think this. And this is really dependent on what the general markets to do, or maybe it's Apple that drives the general markets. It's chicken or the egg at this point. But there is a potential we could go down to the 520 if things get really nasty in the general markets, and we go down to that 12,800 level in the Dow. If you wanted to pick off some shares of Apple, 520 could be it. If the correction is light, then 560 could be it as well.